Hey everybody, Drew here, and you are in my shop with a special treat. This is a 1996 Toyota Camry. This car has 62,000 miles on it, and it's just shy of 30 years old at the time of filming. I am so excited. I'm about to do some work on this car, and I really don't know what to do with it. It's fall time, and as some of you may know, this is still, we're trying to move, but we're still in western New York State, not New York City, but 7 hours northwest from there, where pretty much from the end of October to the beginning of May, it's very cloudy and gray. We get about 10 or 12 feet of snow per year, and cars rust really bad. And gosh, I mean, at the end of the day, you know, I have to sell this thing, or I suppose I don't have to, but, you know, I bought it for the dealership, and I'm just realizing as I dive into it how amazing this car is. And that's the point of this video. I want to address just some of the things that make this car so special and get you to subscribe if you want to see more about this car, because I think one of the first things I'm going to do with it is kind of like a 30-year retro review. You know, we have Camrys. We haven't had a 2025 Camry yet, but we have all kinds of new Camrys. I personally owned newer Camrys, and they're still a great car, but there's nothing like this. And what inspired me to actually start taking this video, watch this. People wonder, you know, even people who subscribe to, you know, cars need to be sporty and, you know, suspension needs to be tight and they need to go around. Even people that think that's what they want all talk about how much they miss this one if they had one in the past. And, you know, I rode around in my aunt's 92 and then her 95 when I was a kid. My first nice car was a 99 Camry, which is great, but not quite as great as this. I want to show you something. People don't realize that modern cars, they don't do this. And that's not broken. As you see, it goes down and then it kind of settles. You know, it would be broken if it went like this. I mean, if you took a brand new Camry and, you know, like somehow sabotaged the shocks and the front struts, it would have more movement than it does. But these struts are in good shape. And look at this. It just, I mean, I'm not a big guy. If I sit on the front of this thing, look at how it goes down. This is what made me think of you guys and shooting a video and really giving this car the credit it deserves. When I take the battery out, watch closely. The car, I'm going to set this down here, the car actually moved up from the weight of its battery. That's just a 24F battery. So what does that mean for you? Well, this car floats down the road, just like an old American car. You know, that's not popular anymore. Nobody's building cars that float anymore. You know, like my wife's Suburban has adaptive suspension, and it constantly reacts to absorb the road, but it doesn't give the, you know, the floaty feel, because people supposedly don't want that. But you talk to most of my buddies that are my age, you know, right about that 40 mark, you know, wish that they brought this back. I mean, you know, this with Apple CarPlay, personally, I don't even want that. But this thing with Apple CarPlay and a few more airbags, it would sell like hotcakes today. So when you've got a car that rides, I mean, look at that. It just, it absorbs the bumps. And I'm going to take you guys and just show you some of, you know, we'll walk around this car. Look at the interior is spacious. The interior is actually spacious in it. You know, nice and just a comfortable, cozy car. Ergonomically, everything's where you want. I'm with my boots on. I'm probably, I don't know, maybe 5'8". So, you know, I mean, that's the position I drove in. There's plenty of room. So these seats, you know, again, look at it's just it's plenty roomy. When I sat down in the car, it squished down. It rides like a dream. And then if you didn't notice, mechanically, this is more subconscious for a lot of you people watching this. You miss this car because of the way it felt and the way it drove. You probably almost miss how cheap they were to maintain, and a lot of it has to do with how accessible everything is. It's just, it's simple. There's you know, the oil filters right here. It's just absolutely just was a wonderful car. So I just thought of you guys. I wanted to shoot this. The vast majority of the reasons that these cars are so dearly missed today and just coveted by those that you know, are blessed to have one still, is just because of the way they rode. You know, Toyota was aiming for, you know, Toyota came to the United States in the late 50s, and they really gained traction in the 80s, and they took over in the 90s. And they did that by satisfying American buyers. Very interesting fact for you. This is a Toyota Camry. It is XV, which means like wide, XV10. Well, in Japan, they before this was the V10, the V20, and then they went to XV10. Well, in Japan, they actually made a V30 and a V40 side by side with this. And what they did is they made this one in the United States, right-hand drive, steering wheel on the right, all the Japanese lights and all that jazz, Japanese writing inside, and they sent it to Japan and called it the Toyota Scepter. Scepter, I believe it was spelled, and it was sold next to the Camry in Japan, but it was American made. And the reason is, you know, they designed this car with the American market in mind. And for the American market, that squishy suspension that, you know, most people, like this was sold to people, you know, mature people in their 30s, 40s, whatever. That was the target demographic, 50s. Well, if you were 50 in the 90s, you were born in the 40s. By the end of the 1950s, cars hit their stride. But really by about 1958, 59, that's when that super soft, floaty ride was developed. And folks that were 20 years old then, you know, in 1960, they remember when cars rode like crap and there was no other choice unless you had a luxury car. Even a Chevy rode smooth in 1960, and that's what everybody cut their teeth on, and that's what they want. And Toyota was genius to build this car for the American market. The Scepter, just like I actually have had an XV20 Camry. I'll link the description. I'll link it in the description. It was an upscale version of a Camry called a Mark II Qualis. But it was truly a 1997 Toyota Camry, like you guys have. I own a 99 still. But it was a station wagon and right-hand drive with different headlights and a different grille called a Mark II Qualis. And they, of course, sold it there as a sedan and as a wagon with the Camry headlights and grille. But those had significantly stiffer suspension than our version here because that's what sells in Japan. So Toyota was genius. You're looking at a Japanese car that was designed and built for the American market, and go figure, even in 1996, this car it's got a VIN code that starts with a 4. You know, this is truly an American car, just, you know, from a Japanese company. So, you know, kind of a rant on what these are, but I just wanted to showcase this car and ask you again to subscribe to this channel if you want to see more about this car. I'm so stoked about it. I'm going to give you just another really quick tour of the inside, other than some sun damage here. I mean, look at this thing. Look at the quality of the dashboard in this. This car is just absolutely incredible. And there it is, 62,775 miles. I plan to drive this car a little bit myself. Just got to get it ready to do so. I guess, you know, one of the things that suck about these cars compared to cars today is safety. Not sure that I'm going to, you know, put a lot of miles on it with my kids back there because they're just not as safe. I mean, they were safe for 1996, but they certainly aren't safe to today's standards. But yeah, what an awesome car. What an awesome story. Toyota's lost their way. I think all the manufacturers today have lost their way. They're trying to please governments and Car and Driver magazine instead of actual buyers. You know, blaming guys my age why everything rides like a sports car, when really all the guys my age, at least the ones I know with, you know, kids and tiring jobs and all that stuff, want just a nice, soft, comfortable car like this one. So I'm Drew. If you love this car, again, subscribe to the channel. Take care. God bless. And we'll see you soon with more on this beauty. Bye.